Hi everybody, welcome to Spotlight with Lisa. I get asked a lot about my favorite stamp set in the Occasions catalog. Now I know it's going to be backwards, and that's a Facebook live thing when you're facing me. When we go down to the table, it won't be like that. You know what? It's tough. It's really, really tough because I don't know about you guys, but there is a ton of products in here and there's a little bit of something for everyone. But I am using one of my favorites tonight to do a really cool card. It's actually kind of a happy accident. So I'm dubbing it a technique and a happy accident. And I think you'll know what I mean when we get started. The big news for tomorrow is this. The brand new second release of Celebration is going to be effective tomorrow, February 16th. Amazing new stuff coming in here. If you haven't seen it, you'll be able to find a link over on my blog. And brand new stamp sets, eclectic expressions. You know, I'm really kind of digging this because when can you use some of these textured backgrounds? Check out these beautiful Springtime Foils designer paper. These have a rose gold base to them. And of course, there's a bundle here. Yes, for free. This is actually a $100 level freebie. So if you place a $100 order, you're going to be able to choose this, obviously, as one of the selections. So it's this beautiful blooming basket stamp set, and it's this incredible basket embossing folder. Isn't that amazing? Now, of course, these are in addition to this. So it's not like these took the place of these. You can pick from any of these. So keep in mind that there is a $50 level and there's a $100 level. So depending on what you choose to spend. But I'm going to tell you right now, here's a little tip. If your order's at $35, give serious consideration to adding another $15 because these are valued at that at least. So I'd hate to see you miss that opportunity to get another free product. So keep that in mind. You'll find the host code and all kinds of ordering information over on my blog at lisasstampstudio.com. Occasions catalog and of course the annual catalog. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're interested in receiving these, I send them out complimentary. Just leave me a comment and I'll check back with you. All right, let's get started. So this is the largest circle framelit from the Layering Circles Framelits die. The one thing about these dies I love is, of course, the graduated sizes of circles, but you also get the scallop circles as well. So die cut the largest one for this technique that I'm showing you here. All right, so we're going to start with a little bit of daubering. And I am using Dapper Denim. This is one of the in colors. And you know what, sadly to say, you know what? It's going to be retiring May 31st. It's going to be its last day. I want to make sure that you understand that retiring in colors are going to be flying off the shelf. Typically, we get the retirement list from, sometime late April, sometimes even May 1st. So if you want refills for your ink pads and you want cardstock, coordinating designer paper, the ribbons, you're going to want to start buying those now because I will guarantee you they will sell out. And I would hate to see you lose out on being able to re-ink the products that you've already purchased. So I've got my dauber here. Finger goes on the inside. I like a dauber when I'm going to cover a large area to get some color. And I like a sponge if I'm doing just a light brush of color. I get asked that question a lot, so that's my preference here. So I'm going to ink this up. And the ink from here is very concentrated, so I like to dab off a little bit on my scratch paper so I have a little control. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by covering this circle. Now, I'm not going to be really particular about light areas and dark areas, and you're going to see why in a few minutes. So I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to go over here to this side, and then I'm going to dab some more, and I'm rubbing off a little bit. Again, it's because I don't want those little pouncy circles from the sponge dauber, because you can see that it's a round base there. And I'm going to leave one area here on one side, just a little bit lighter. Okay, I'm going to probably leave that side. All right, so I'm going to go back over this side a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to set this one aside. You're going to want to make sure that you're using a separate dauber for each of the colors that you use. All right, so I'm just using 2 tonight. And here is the Night of Navy. I'm going to ink up again. And again, I'm going to dab off. I'm layering these colors, and you'll see why. So I'm going to go back over this. And I'm going to add more color right over the Dapper Denim. The great thing about having the Dapper Denim on here as a base is I'm not really concerned about areas where the Dapper shows through versus the navy. Does that make sense? So it gives you a little bit of variegation of color, and you can see how fast this is. You see how that spot right there is a little bit lighter? Ooh, I like that. I did that on purpose. So I'm going to just cover this with a little bit more ink, and that's going to be important. I'm going to show you why. So here is my happy accident technique. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Versamark ink. I am going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So I'm going to use my Versamark, and I'm pulling out the stars from the stamp set Magical Day. Oh, I am digging this because it's something different, and I am having such a great time with this. I've got other samples to show you, so make sure you bear with me. I'm going to ink this up very carefully, and I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to put some stars here, and I'm going to put some stars here. I hope I didn't press too hard, and a couple stars here. Sticking that on my scrub, and I'm bringing in my tray with my silver embossing powder. I am going to pour this over my circle, and I'm going to dump it off. Look it. Do you see how much powder has stuck here? This is where the happy accident came into play. So I turned it over and I kept giving it a flick, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. So for those of you that don't know, an embossing buddy swiped on your stamping surface before you apply your ink actually tells your powder not to stick where there isn't ink. So it's an anti-static powder. So here's what my happy accident produces. Are you ready? All right, let's get out the heat tool. I have the base of my card here. I have already heat embossed the words from that exact same stamp set. Now I did that ahead of time because you just watched me do it right here on the technique. The only difference is this. I used the embossing buddy on here first before I stamped the words and powdered them. So I didn't get these little flakes all over. Now you're probably thinking, that's what happens if you don't use the embossing buddy? No, not necessarily quite like this. This happened because the ink on here was quite wet from all the daubering we did, from all the layers of color. I am grabbing a piece of shimmery white cardstock. I absolutely love this stuff. This is an amazing product, especially when you're going to do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to use the Wizard from that stamp set. And again, remember, I've got more samples to share with you. So I'm going to stamp my little Wizard here. This is just a scrap piece of shimmery white cardstock. Got my Stampin' Blends, and I'm just going to give you a very quick little area demonstration here. They come light and dark, okay? So there's a light shade and a dark shade. If you missed my quick tip video a couple weeks ago, I gave you a tip about the washi tape. I was forever reading and turning the barrel, trying to identify which was the narrow tip side or the nub side from the brush side, and I got tired of that. So I was like, okay, let's just put the washi tape on the brush side so that I know when I'm looking at it instantly which cap I need to take off. And I'm going to pull these off, and I've got my light one here. Now here's where my tips are going to come in. One thing you can't do with markers is scribble right over them and then go back over them again, because you know what happens with a marker, you get those lines, right? So you get like a lighter and a darker area, but you don't get that with Stampin' Blends. The other great thing about these alcohol-based markers is that you should purposely leave some areas that are not colored in. It's totally fine. I'm going to go to the dark one now. Darker marker, and when we say dark, we mean dark. I always turn my paper and not turn my hand because I don't like contortionist coloring. I mean, that's just like crazy hard, isn't it? I'm going to lay a little bit of dark color here, but watch what I'm going to do. I am literally going to flick, starting at the outside, pulling in. I find doing this works way better, and I'm going to show you why. You may want to do this, lay the color here. Do you know that this is way harder to blend than this? So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit here. Again, I'm going back over it. I'm not going to color the whole thing. I'm going to put my cap back on, and I'm going to make sure it's locked. I'm coming back to my light one. This is where the magic happens. And I am actually going to go right back over this, and this is the beauty of alcohol markers. So I'm going to actually come right here, and I'm pulling that color forward. This is where the blending comes in. And once I'm kind of satisfied with how it's going, you can do little small circles if you're more comfortable with that. And look what's going to happen. Do you see it already starting to happen here? You see how this is darker and this is lighter? Remember how we talked about this line here? Let me show you how hard this is. Again, I'm going to turn it to make it easier for my hand. I have to go over and over and over and over. Do you still see the line? Do you see how this is so much easier to work? Now also let me give you a tip while we're together. Let's say I got a little bit of color right outside the line here. Do you guys see that? Okay, I'm going to cap that. There is a color lifter that you can purchase separately. And again, it has dual tips just like the other one. So I'm going to use the, what I call the fine tip. This is actually, should be called a color mover. This is something that I found out. You start here, way outside the color, and watch what's going to happen. The alcohol in here is penetrating and it's moving the color in. Do you see how it's kind of literally disappeared here from the bottom? What a lot of us want to do is we want to start too close. We actually want to do this, but what's going to happen is as this processes, it's actually going to remove color from the lined area. So remember to use your color lifter outside the line. The other thing it's great for is shading. So if you want to make an area lighter, you can certainly go over it. Takes a few seconds for that alcohol to evaporate to process on the paper. Now the nub can actually pick up a little bit of that color. So, you know, on your scratch paper, I always like to scratch it off and just kind of make sure that it's clean before I put it away so I don't transfer that color to like my next project or my next section. I have a whole YouTube series on using the Stampin' Blends. Now, I also use the Smoky Slate for the beard and the mustache. And I use this amazing ivory, which is the perfect flesh tone for his face. I have one that's already finished. You want to use Memento ink, all right? That is a water-based ink. And remember, these are alcohol-based markers. So kind of like oil and vinegar, they're not gonna they're gonna be fine together is what I'm trying to say. If you use a pigment ink, you're gonna have nothing but a muddy mess because they'll smear. The other thing is the quality of the paper. You want to either use shimmery white cardstock or you want to use the thick, either the white or the very vanilla cardstock to do this on. I have found the watercolor paper and the regular Whisper White cardstock are really not great for blends, and here's why. If you have a good alcohol marker, it should do this. It should come right through the back and bleed, which was another reason why you don't ever want to color on the actual base of your card because it's going to come right through. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm a big fan of dimensionals. Let me get my bigger ones. I love that we have them in two sizes now. So we've got them in small, and we've got them in the regular size, so the minis and the regular. And I always like to make sure that this is balanced. So I'm going to put a dimensional in the center as well. I'm going to put my fingernail here in the center, and that's going to help lift the outside paper backing on these to help remove them a lot easier. You know, that's a tip I learned ages ago that has saved me a bunch of time. Here we go. We've got our moon. First, I've got a little bit of stars peeking through that hazy moon. I'm going to set that aside. This is the back side of my wizard. So I've got my full-size dimensionals here. Another one will fit here. And again, press, and I'm lifting off that paper backing. So I'm going to put my wizard here. These are the glitter enamel dots, and I absolutely love these. You're going to get 4 colors, so there's a variegation here from light to dark in all those shades. So I'm actually going to pick my biggest one. Got glue dots already on the back. Gotta love that. And I'm going to stick that right here, right inside his hand. So there we go. There we have got our wizard card. I wanted to show you too, there are dies for all of these images in the stamp set, because who the heck wants to cut all those cute things out, right? I don't. So here was the die that I used for the wizard. Every month I do what's called Studio Stamps in the Mail. And this month we are doing this bundle of products. You will get the Magical Day stamp set and the coordinating framelits. That's included with my Stamps in the Mail. You're also going to get a package of pearls. You're automatically going to get these. But you know what else you're going to get? Here comes the best part. You're automatically going to get your choice of a $50 level free celebration product because this totals $50. But you're also going to get free pre-cut supplies to make 8 cards. I'm including everything for you, so I want to show you what you're going to get. You're going to be able to make 2 of this adorable dragon card. Isn't he cute? So you're going to have one with gold and another with silver, and I'm going to teach you some watercoloring tips in case you want to do some shading. And you're thinking, well, how are you going to teach me? Well, you get a video. I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to stamp right along with you from home to make these 8 cards. All right, here's the other ones. Look at this. So again, I'm going to give you the vellum, and guess what? You're going to get shimmery white cardstock. I'm going to pre-cut that and put it in your packet so you actually get to try this using a blender pen and some ink pads. Of course, I include the sequins, so 2 of those. And you'll also get 2 of these. And of course, you're going to get those enamel dots, and that'll be pre-punched for you, pre-die cut. Of course, anything that uses the die cuts that are already part of the bundle, you're going to automatically be able to do those at home. And then 2 of the mermaids. So it's going to include the entire bundle, like we talked about, the stamp set and the framelits, free pre-cut supplies. I do not charge you for those. Those are just my gift for the order. Your choice of a celebration $50 level product, the pearls, the video, and you're going to get a PDF tutorial. It all comes to you priority mail. The price for this Studio Stamps in the Mail is $69. The last day to order is Saturday. And I've got another thing to tell you. These framelits right here, they are on low inventory. Now, I don't know if that means the bundle framelits or the framelits by themselves, but I don't like to take chances. So time is of the essence. If you really like the card that I created today and you like the cards that I've showed you, Studio Stamps in the Mail is a value because you don't have to do any of the fussing and the cutting. You turn that video on, you can watch it when you want, as often as you want. You can stamp at your own pace, and we work together. Now, you're going to need, obviously, a Big Shot, so you can use the framelits or a die cutting machine that will accommodate them. You're going to need some ink pads. You're going to need a blender pen, of course, clear blocks, and some basic supplies. They're all listed over on my blog under the Online Classes tab, and you'll see there it says Studio Stamps in the Mail. It's a great way for you to stamp with me from home. I get asked this all the time. Is there a monthly commitment? Is this a club? Absolutely not. You can choose the months you like the best and purchase those, and you don't have to purchase them all. Now, here as an added bonus, I give all of my Studio Stamps in the Mail customers Live with Lisa. And you're like, what's that? Well, it's a Facebook Live closed event where I do numerous live demonstrations with other products, and they get a whole bundle of tutorials, usually 7 or 8 tutorials. I give away product prizes and what we call Prize Patrol. Now, if you can't watch live, the recording is there, don't worry. But if we have people who buy Studio Stamps in the Mail that aren't on Facebook, I actually send them the video recording and the tutorials over email, and of course I still put their name in the product drawing. Now, if you're thinking that Live with Lisa thing sounds really awesome, how else can I enjoy that? You know what? It's also a reward I give my customers when they place a $25 product order in my online store. I do ask that you use the host code because it allows me to spread the joy and provide free gifts for my customers. If you spend $50, don't forget you're going to get a free celebration product, and you're also going to get what I call a free VIP gift. And they are great stuff. Embossing folders, designer paper stacks, embellishments. Those are all free. I'll send you a list towards the end of the month, and you can choose anything on that list for free with a $50 order. And that is a standing thing that I do for all of my customers as a thank you. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you for the next Spotlight. I'll be back real soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.